Blessed Jesus. Like I said before, I didn't really get a chance to study this the way that I wanted to, but I still wanted to release, and I'm still praying that, Holy Spirit allows what needs to be said to still be said, and that it is something that that can help your life. Those of you who are standing for your marriages, blessed God, Job 22:28, you shall decree a thing, and it shall be established for you, and light shall shine upon your ways. So I am decreeing my kingdom marriage, decreeing it, and I want you to do the same thing. I am decreeing my kingdom marriage with the one that God has chosen specifically for me, with the one that God has chosen specifically for me, and it shall come forth suddenly. Blessed God. See, Satan don't want this to happen, but it's gonna happen. It shall come forth suddenly, immediately, straightway, and it shall be of great purpose in this earth. Blessed God. And it shall be a loving, beautiful, blessed situation with me. God created me to love. How many of you know that? God created you to love. God created me to love, to give it and to definitely receive it because of how much I give it and how well I give it. So that's why I know, blessed Jesus, that that it's coming forth, and it's coming forth in a beautiful way for myself, and for you as well. I decree that over you. Your marriages are coming forth, and for those of you who are married, I pray that it is with someone that God chose for you, and that if he chose that partner for you, that marriage flourishes, and that it produces every beautiful thing that God has ordained it to produce in the earth. Okay. The first point that I have here, it says, effectively, compassionately, and empathetically communicating. And mind you, I said the title of this was Creating a Safe Space to Love. So one way to create a safe space to love is learning and engaging in effectively, compassionately, and empathetically communicating. You want your communication with your spouse to be something that is compassionate. You want it to be something that is empathetic. You want it to be something that is easy. And when I say easy, not to say that every conversation is necessarily going to be easy, but because of who it is and the compassion that you carry for that person and the love that you have for that person, it makes it easy for you to communicate with them, and it also makes it easy for them to communicate with you. When it's something other than that, that is the works of the enemy. Literally, that is the works of the enemy manifesting through a person, and there's no other way to describe it. It is the works of the enemy manifesting through a person, and whether they want to admit it or not, that's what it is. And you have one or two choices. You can either feed into it, or you can pray about it. And sometimes it can be difficult to pray about it when it's intense sometimes. But for your kingdom spouse, you have been called to be an intercessor. You have been called to be a prayer warrior. You have been called to definitely be a prayer partner, but intercede until you can become a prayer partner, because sometimes it's just not in that space to be a prayer partner because of the magnitude of what is taking place with certain people. I revert back to this often because I admire this couple because they do amazing ministry so far that I've seen, and I've followed them since like 2010, and that's Dr. Mike and Dee Dee Freeman, and they actually have Marriage Made Easy, which is a marriage ministry. And I remember something that Dr. Dee Dee had spoken about several years ago when she was mentioning, when Dr. Freeman just wasn't always acting the best of. And she said that she would pretend that he was acting as though how she wanted him to. She would pretend in so few or less words, but basically in a nutshell, she was saying that she would pretend as though he was acting the way she wanted him to act. So therefore she would still do things that were synonymous with kindness and being compassionate and patient and loving, even though he was being very rude and crass, and probably not even admitting at the time that it was him who was acting that way. And so as time began to go on, he just literally began to change. And maybe it was a conviction that the Holy Spirit, began to have on him because of prayers that she was, offering up. But she began to see the change, and it kind of flourished from there. And so I just thought that was kind of dope. It's not always what you want to do, but I just thought that was very dope. But going back to effectively, compassionately, and empathetically communicating is, it says here, how do you feel? Being able to communicate how you feel, being able to communicate and be considerate of how the other is feeling, and even asking, well, how are you feeling? So being able to have that dialogue of each other's feelings about whatever it is, whether it's the day, whether it's just with life, whether it's about a particular situation or circumstance at the time, but being able to communicate that. How do you feel? What you like and dislike. Being able to share that, well, you did this and it made me feel this kind of way. Well, you said that and it made me feel this kind of way. Well, you didn't do this and it made me feel this way. And being able to have, once again, the kind of compassionate communication to where, excuse me, you can express that to each other, and you're not making each other feel like you're wrong for mentioning it, you're wrong for even bringing it up, or making the other feel, I don't want to use the word inadequate, but like there's a disregard for you even bringing it up, like a dismissal. Once again, I'll revert back. Anything like that is literally somebody in in the operation, in the spirit of a demon, of the enemy. That's the demonic spirit. Another thing, when you're angry, frustrated, or hurt, being able to communicate that, being able to, say when you're hurt, being able to say when you're angry, being able to say when you're frustrated, because when you internalize that and you keep it in and you're not speaking on it and you're trying to act as though it doesn't bother you, whatever it is, it comes through anyway, especially with a person that has a very keen ability to discern, and not to mention the gift of discerning the spirits. So when a person has the gift of discerning of spirits, you can't really hide that. It's blatant. That's a God thing. Like, you would have to be stupid to think that you're hiding something like that. And if you have a God-ordained kingdom spouse, he's going to give you someone who has gifts of the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.